You're listening to the Progressive Mind Show, your number one community building show in the world. Every Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. CST, live on Facebook and YouTube. Join us as we discuss pertinent issues that relates to you and I with your host, Alinko.
Welcome everyone to the Progressive Mind Show. My name is Alinko. We are located in the beautiful city of Chicago. This is your community building show, the number one in the entire world. This is where we engage folks in our communities to engage in dialogues that is pertinent to us. The Sunday's episode is where we connect the diaspora to Africa. And we are very excited today that we have Africa connecting to diaspora. Okay, it's gonna be. We hope that you can get a thing or two from this conversation. We designed this specially for our brothers and sisters living in the diaspora, living in Africa, and so we want to turn to them in a little bit. But we bear with me 1 second. We want to go back to the feed. We're just having a little glitch. You know, it's just a long distance virtual episode, so we hope that you would bear with us while we try to go through some of this little technical hiccups. We will definitely get it running very soon. Please hang on with us. Let's take this short break. After this, we will be introducing our guests to tonight's conversation. Please stay with us. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube, and we encourage you to share the links so that we can all participate in this combo. We shall be right back.
Welcome. Chris Toffee Financial Company is ready and available either group or one-on-one basis to help you understand different investment opportunities in America that you can invest in with any amount. The right college account for your children to withdraw money. We can help you to get appropriate life insurance that you can withdraw money or take loan. And if you're in the process of buying or refinancing a vehicle or a house, we can help by building up your credit score. We also repair credit by permanently removing negative items such as medical bills, collections, late payments, foreclosure, bankruptcy, inquiries. We also help all businesses to get business loans and credit by building their business credit. If you need any of our services, please feel free to contact us at 512-999-6724 or chris@christoffee.com or visit www.christoffee.com. Thank you.
Welcome back to the show. This is the Progressive Minds. We have Tonya back on here. Tonya, can you hear us? Okay, we're working to get Tanya's feet situated today.
Yes, I can hear you. Okay. I can hear you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Today is October 10th, 2020. As I stated earlier, we are going to be talking to these beautiful folks here. Just give me a second while I introduce them. We have, before that, though, we just have to, oh, man. Okay. Hello and good evening to everyone who has made time to join us this evening, this afternoon, and tonight. For a lot of you, we know this program is carried across the globe. We are currently live on My Star radio station, situated in Washington, D.C. My Star Radio is a Pan-African radio station for this earning listener. Today's topic for discussion is diasporans living in Africa. A diaspora is a scattered population whose origin lies in a separate geographical location. Historically, the word diaspora was used to refer to the mass dispersion of a population from its indigenous territories. Most discussions around diasporans topics focus on Africans living abroad these days. Today, we would like to change the narrative and listen to Black Americans who have, some would say African Americans who have migrated back and are living in Africa. My guests today are first TONYA SAAFIR ANKOMAH, also known as SISTA Ya. She is the CEO of SANKOFA Reparation Assistance Program. We also have, now let me just go back here. Okay, I'm going to get to them in a little bit. We have Howard KWABENA ZEMENKHU James. He is a senior software architect, a senior software architect consultant, and also CTO and director of MERITA Technologies, residing in Kenya. Now they do this business in both Kenya and Tanzania. We also have ABENA James Grace, who is a CEO of MERITA Technologies in Tanzania, and lastly, Lord Amir, A.K.A. Lord Dr. Lord. He is the CEO of Histrotech. Now we will let him tell us more about Histrotech. We also have Selassie, who's supposed to be joining us. Hopefully she can join the feed. I saw her earlier, but I think due to technical issues, we lost her. But again, hopefully we can get her on the show. KWABENA, who is a software consultant. KWABENA, you're welcome to the show.
Asante sana. Thank you very much, Swahili. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And I think that you may want to try without the headset, because the feedback we're getting when you're talking is good to the ear.
Will do.
Okay, thank you. And then Dr. Lord, CEO of Histrotech. Dr. Lord, you're welcome.
Great, thank you for being here. It's my pleasure. Welcome myself as well as the other guests here. Appreciate the time and the opportunity.
Awesome. And next to Dr. Lord, we have TONYA. TONYA is Sister Ya. Can you hear? TONYA, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you, brother. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me, and welcome to the other guests.
Thank you. And then we have ABENA Grace, ABENA Grace, supposed to be representing Kenya. Is it Tanzania or Kenya? Tanzania. ABENA, you're welcome to the show.
Medasepa.
Mr. Medasi.
Yo. It's a pleasure, and I'm glad to be here amongst all of the other guests.
Awesome. And then you were the CTO of MERITech. No, not MERITech. What's the name?
MERITA Technologies.
MERITA Technologies.
Yes.
I'm getting myself confused because there are two tech in there, a lot of techs. Tell us a little bit about what MERITech Technologies stand for, and then we can go to, because we'd like to know your background a little bit. But first of all, what is MERITech Technologies?
Okay. MERITA Technologies is a software development company, and we started this back in Ethiopia. We primarily do outsourcing to projects in the US and other places. Now we currently have an office in Kenya and one in Tanzania. We recently opened up an office in Tanzania. So we work on large-scale applications, customized mostly for companies. However, the Tanzania branch is focusing right now on training. So there's a lot of young people in the continent that are not employable And there are many projects and things that they could be doing that could be done from Africa, for Africans, by Africans, and it's not happening. And so we want to address that by focusing on technology training in Tanzania, as well as the usual software development projects.
Well, thank you. KWABENA, okay, so you work for MERITA as well, but you are a software consultant. Now, do you play this role with MERITA alone, or you do other consulting consulting work in software for the Kenyan government or other companies in Kenya?
So through MERITA Technologies, we provide software consulting services to various different businesses. Most of our customers to this point have been in the US. So the US is the largest market. As a matter of fact, the US market is so large that there's not enough qualified software development experts in that field. So they outsource to companies like us to get portions of a project or entire projects done. So through MERITA Technologies, we provide these services.
Thank you so much. Dr. Lord, you want to tell us a little bit about Histrotech? When I saw the name, it got me thinking a little bit. So is that history and technology combined?
Absolutely, absolutely. What it is, it's a hybrid, of course. And what you have is, as you said, you have history joined in with technology. So therefore, it's a hybrid that it's a nonprofit 501c3. We trademarked it. We've been at that process for a minute because we understand that history is very important, and the only way to preserve our history properly is using technology so that it can move into the future. So we kind of merged the two together and see how we can get other people involved in actually using technology to preserve their own history, whether it's their family history, whether it's their biological, chemical, or physical makeup, which is also your history, which is your digital footprint that we also have to learn how to capture and preserve. But the biggest thing with all of that is that we have to preserve it for ourselves. If you would, lack of a better term, the melanated people control that data. Most of all of our data is sitting on somebody else's server. And if it's on somebody else's server, we don't control it. So Histrotech is going to be, we're going to build out first in the Gambia with a museum, which would be a smart museum, but also it'll be a place where you can learn the technology, you can learn about preserving history, and also control the actual data base itself. So we would own it, so to speak, moving forward to the future.
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate that insight to Histrotech. But I know you're based in the US, Atlanta to be precise.
Yes, we are here in the United States. We're actually in Atlanta, Georgia. But
okay.
we purchased land in the Gambia. We have roughly 5 acres there on the Gambian River that we actually are clearing now to get started with the actual museum itself.
Okay, thank you. Let's see if we can get Ajua Selassie in here. Ajua, okay, so she's still trying to sit with herself. Let us know when you're ready, Ajua. We'll try and figure that situation out. Thank you, guys. KWABENA, let's start with you. No, Tonya, tell us about the Reparation Assistance Program. Is this going on in Africa? Because we know when you hear of reparation, it's it's something connected to African Americans and in America. And so tell us a little bit about this program you're running in Ghana.
Okay.
She's muted.
Yeah, Tonya, we can hear you. I don't know. Can you try unmuting yourself because it's not from here? Okay, looks like we're having a technical difficulty. Sorry about that, listeners. Okay, while we wait on Tanya, KWABENA, let us. How did you? First of all, you left. Was it the U.S. you left to Africa or the UK?
We left the United States. Yes, that's correct.
So what state were you in before, prior to you living to Africa?
We spent most of our time in Florida, but we kind of moved to the United States in a stepwise manner. So last place was California.
A little bit about your background in the United States. I mean, you grew up here. This is your country, and we can try to find out what led to the final decision for you moving to Africa.
That goes back a little while. So actually, I'm born in Jamaica. Myself and my wife are born in Jamaica.
Okay.
And I grew up as a child of the 60s, or the late 60s. So I grew up hearing people like Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Dennis Brown, the Rastafarian movement in Jamaica sing about Africa, repatriating to Africa and so forth. So that backdrop always educated my position on Africa, because of course the music is quite profound. And as a child, I moved from Jamaica to Canada actually, and I spent much of my grown-up years in Canada, and so that was my first experience living in somebody else's country, and that also educates my position in terms of how I feel about our current situation. So subsequent to that, that's when I moved to the United States. And when we became adults, shortly after we started having children, we realized that we're in a situation.
Right.
And in thinking it through and understanding where we are and who we are and what we need to do, for me, myself, Africa became my destiny. It's something that built as the time went on, and it became eminent. So my first trip to Africa was to Ghana in 1996. I took my entire family. We were adopted, we were welcomed, and from there we never looked back. We just kept on investing in that process year after year, until ultimately in 2010 we moved to the continent full time, and that was Ethiopia. And then from there, we went to Kenya, because our core business is in IT. So the country sort of matters in that regard. And then due to this COVID issue, we moved to Tanzania, because Tanzania was open at the time, and we could really travel in and out of Kenya. So now we are operating out of both Kenya and Tanzania. And again, we are servicing mostly the American market in terms of our IT outsourcing efforts.
Okay.
So that's a short history of how we got here.
Okay. And would that be the same for you, ABENA?
Yes, it's very similar. We have been we've been together for over 36 years. And we've been working together. I've been with the company for over 20 years now, and it's been the same path. Yes.
Do people talk about, I would like us to talk about the company in a little bit more about, I'd like us to talk a little bit more about the company in a second, but there is this history or this connection when it comes to Jamaicans and the Ashantis, or the people of Ghana. Can you help us establish that relationship? We read it on the internet. We see sometimes in the culture. Growing up as a Ghanaian, I would always say, "Yeah, man," without knowing why. That's what I said. That's how our great friends. And then years later, I got married, migrated here. My ex and I then took a trip to Jamaica on vacation. And when I heard people saying, well, you know what? You know one funny thing? When I came here, I had to stop using "yeah, man," because I realized American culture don't say "yeah, man." You say, "Hey, what's up?" What's up? So I quit using "yeah, man." It changed me a little. America changed me a little. That hospitality, all of that, I had to stop it because I realized people were not that nice here. And then we took this trip to Jamaica, and I'm hearing everybody saying "yeah, man, yeah, man." So I looked to my ex and I'm like, what? there was this cultural shock that, that was very profound to me. I felt really connected. The style, the culture, the environment everything was the same. But then I realized that I had dropped the culture that I had found in Jamaica and took on something else. And now here, I am with, people that I can relate with, who are speaking language and dialect and acting and behaving in certain ways that I can relate to. But I literally had to drop that type of life. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
so I quickly had to connect. I quickly had to bring myself back home. It's like, look, I am home. And so, yeah, that just remind, but help us understand that relationship, if you may.
Which one of us? Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's something that's based on, I think, the high density of those of us who were taken, stolen from West Africa and specifically Ghana, that was in Jamaica. I think based on that, the mass, we were able to preserve a lot of the culture from Ghana. And specifically when there was a group or several people that ended up over being hundreds that went up into the mountains where they were away from the plantations, and they were able to even insulate themselves and preserve the culture even more. And so you do have over the years words, phraseology, mannerisms that you find in the Ghana culture, West Africa culture, still prominent in Jamaica. And so it is the basis of the Jamaican culture, regardless of the fact that we were then colonized by Britain and Spain and Britain again and all of these other things. The foundation was the Ghanaian culture. And so we carried it forward, we've carried it over the years.
Yeah.
Personally, my great grandmother was using a Ghanaian word to refer to our first daughter. And at the time, I didn't know what it meant, only to find out when we got to Ghana that it was a name, a Ghanaian name, that she was using to refer to my baby. So it is as recent as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. There are a couple words that we share in common, actually.
A few. Yes.
Yes. KWABENA, do you know any of those?
Sure. I believe sensifowl is there. Even aki, the foods. So some of the foods that we use in Jamaica have the same name.
Dukono.
Dukono. Yes.
Dukono. So you guys say dukono for the turban for women, right?
No, dukono the food. Dukono kenke.
Oh, dokuno.
Yes.
Oh, you guys say dokuno there too in Jamaica?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So our national heroes are Kojo and Nani.
Okay, I'm Kojo, so I must be one of them.
You're one of them. Yes.
That's my. So, I was born on Monday, so I'm Kojo. Yeah.
Yes. So within Jamaica, the effect of the Asante people was quite profound historically, and a set of people called the Maroons were actually some of the first free set of people to establish their own communities outside of slavery within Jamaica, and they battled against the colonialists to the point where the colonialists sued for peace. And so those people to this very day are able to be somewhat separate from the Jamaican society. And so that history of struggle is replete in the Caribbean and particularly in Jamaica and the Asante Kingdom. Now I'm saying Asante as opposed to Ashanti because it's my understanding that Ashanti is a corruption of the word. So the actual word, as far as I know, is Asante.
Asante.
Yes.
Wow.
So I prefer to use the proper word as it would be said in Ghana. And with that being said, it's my understanding that Jamaica is quite influenced, and the Caribbean in general, by the power of the Asante Nation, as well as other nations that were taken into slavery.
Absolutely. And I even know that the word Anansi, is the same way you pronounce it, stands for spider, and you guys say
Yes, we have the stories, Anansi, Ntikuma, all of those stories came along with
you have
us.
the Tikuma, Anansi, all of that. Oh my, that's interesting. Good to know. I mean, this is how it's powerful when we find the similarities in what makes us in what brings us together, in what's if once we're able to identify um these things that bind us, I think that the connection becomes easy, because here, and I bet you I've met Caribbeans and Jamaicans who literally do not care anything about Africans or Africa. Look, they don't even identify as it. They tell you they're Caribbeans, they're from Jamaica, and they stand on that. No connection. So it's good. It's refreshing when you learn these things and see how much we're connected, even though we, dispersed all over. Dr. Lord, I know you haven't moved to Africa yet, but you were planning on it. But let's talk to the Africans first. Give us some time. I want us to chit chat with the Africans. Okay, today is their day. We don't get a chance to talk to them a lot of times. So
Absolutely.
I'll come to you in a bit. Sister, yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I
All right.
apologize. My Wi-Fi is terrible. I'm really, really struggling, but I can hear you now.
We understand. Look, that's some of the struggle when you live in this part of the world, right? And so hopefully it gets better. But you guys going back home with KWABENA and ABENA taking technology, and Dr. Lord trying to take technology, and a whole bunch of people taking technology to Africa. We hope that these things would improve. But Sister, tell us about when did you move from the States to Ghana?
The first time, the first time was in 2013.
Okay.
I resigned from my position as an assistant attorney general in the U.S. Virgin Islands on the island of St. Croix, and I left and came with my two youngest children. The oldest one were in college at the time. And so it was in 2013, and I came here and lived for 2 years. I went back in 2015. A lot of people don't like to hear this, but the truth of the matter is I went back in 2015 because of infrastructure. There was doomsor going on in Ghana, and for those who don't know what doomsor is, that means lights out. We had a very bad situation with, there was an energy crisis back in 2014, 15, and I endured for a long time with my children, but it got to a point where I couldn't take it anymore. Mm-hmm. And so I went back to the States for a while, but I've been back this time for a year. So it's always been my plan to live here. That's always been the goal. Even with doomsor, the goal was to be in Ghana anyway, regardless. So my husband, who is Ghanaian, and we had bought land when I was living here that time, during that time. My husband was in the States working, and I was here in Ghana with my two youngest. And we had bought several plots of land, and we were just holding on to it. And we had done some things on it in terms of agriculture, pineapple farming, poultry farming, and things like that. But now I've been back for 1 year now, and I don't have any plans of leaving. I came back when they closed the borders, is really when I realized, okay, it was like a wake-up call that I needed to go back immediately. And, because if they close the borders, at least I'll be in Africa. I'd rather be here than to be over there. So wow. I've been back a year now.
Wow. Powerful story. Did you meet your Ghanaian husband in Ghana or whilst you were in the States?
Yes. I met him, well, to be honest, I met him initially online. Okay. So that was about 11 years ago. And I had some friends who had been coming to Ghana for a long time. And they are an American couple. And they have been traveling back and forth to Ghana. And they were the ones who introduced me to Ghana in terms of their travels and their stories and things like that. So they piqued the interest in Ghana in me at that time. And so I started looking up everything about Ghana just based on my friendship with them and following their stories and looking at their pictures and videos and home videos and things like that. So I was reaching out to anybody who could tell me anything about Ghana. And so I ended up meeting he wasn't my husband at that time. I ended up meeting the brother, and we started talking about Ghana, and he was telling me things about Ghana, just historical things about the different regions, and kind of educating me about Ghana. And then my friends the couple, they were on their way back to Ghana, and I said, hey, I met this guy. Why don't y'all meet with him? He seems, nice. Why don't y'all let him show you around? Because he seems very educated about the country. He can take y'all to other regions. And so when they met him, they fell in love with him. My friends fell in love with him, actually. so they were like, oh, they kept saying, no, you have to take this guy serious. He's a really good guy and all this stuff. Okay. So, and then I said, okay, because at first it was just a friendship. But when my friends fell in love with him, and they basically insisted that I, take this guy serious. And so then I came to Ghana, and from there, it's basically all she wrote. It's been history. Me and him, we're having our 9th anniversary. We just had our 9th anniversary, actually, a couple days ago on the 6th of October.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Wow. So the online thing works, right? It does really work for some people.
It worked for me. It worked for me.
Hey, KWABENA and ABENA, how did you all find out that you were both born on Tuesday? Because let me start with ABENA. ABENA, you first. How did you always know this even when you were living in America?
No. This happened when we went to Ghana the first time. No, actually, we met a Ghanaian who then told us that if you're born on Tuesday, you're ABENA. So we found out when we started to learn more about our culture and as it relates to what's going on in Africa. We were involved in a few Pan-African activities, I would call it lightly, in Canada, and we started meeting some people from Ghana or who would have traveled to Ghana and come back, and that really got us excited to go. And so we met someone he's from the Caribbean, but lived in America, and he had some family and friends in Techiman, and so connected us with that family there. And when we actually went to Ghana, that's when it became official. Okay, I'm born on a Tuesday, and so I'm ABENA. KWABENA has actually done his naming ceremony on one of the trips back to Techiman. So Techiman is our home base.
Okay.
We're still, a part of the family that adopted us over 26 years ago.
Yeah.
And our daughter recently, 3 years ago, got married, and our brother flew from Ghana to attend the wedding in Kenya. So the family is still going strong. Yeah.
Wow. KWABENA, did you two also meet online while in the States or college?
No, we go back so far, there was no online. That's just it. We're from the same neighborhood. Our family is from just down the street from each other in Jamaica. So it starts way back there. So that's how we met.
All right. And how many kids do you guys have?
Two
If you want to,
girls.
two girls. Awesome. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Dr. Lord, so we've been talking to the diasporans living in Africa, our brothers and sisters living in Africa. We're going to go more into their story, but having listened, you are in the beginning process of moving to Gambia. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Now, is the agenda to just retire? First of all, where are you originally from? Are you Native American? Just give us a little background about you.
Yeah, I would say Native American, by way of New York, by way of Georgia. Now we're still in Georgia, but we moved around the states and did things like that for a period of time. We discovered Gambia through a friend that said we needed to check it out. They traveled around the continent and they came up with Gambia being that place because it was English speaking and it was the smallest country. So we decided to visit. That was like 8 years ago, and we've been traveling there at least once to twice a year to establish, land and relationships with people.
Okay. Have you done your ancestry?
I have. It varies with different companies, even though I know they use the same codes as you would be to verify stuff, but I'm actually have 32% Nigerian, so it was kind of interesting that I have more Nigerian, but I'm in Gambia, but it's a start, so we're looking at
So 32 Nigerian, how much is Gambian?
Didn't have any come up per se Gambia, and it kind of the test we used kind of gave me a region, so it was kind of like the mid region, but we had it was 32% Nigerian. There was some others that I didn't really,
No Ghana popped up anywhere.
No Ghanaian. No.
Well, can I say something here?
Yeah, go ahead, Tonya.
Yeah.
He could very well have plenty of Gambian, Ghanaian, because we are a mixture of the continent. And those DNA tests, I have not done mine for that reason. I don't have anything against people who do them, but they can only tell you about one ancestor out of, you have potentially millions of ancestors. In fact, you do have millions. The way the DNA test works, it can tell you about one person on your matrilineal line or one person on your paternal line. That's it. So it doesn't tell you the true makeup of who you are. You understand what I'm saying? It can only tell you about a couple of people. Yeah. So he could very well, and when you, because my aunt, who has the same mother as my mother, so when she did her matrilineal DNA, it would be the exact same for me, because the mitochondrial DNA is the same for everyone that my grandmother had, for my grandmother, her mother before her, and so on and so forth. So with that being said, I'm 38% from some tribe in Nigeria too. But I know, because I understand the way the science works, that I have millions of ancestors and they come from so many different places.
Awesome.
So I just wanted to add that. Yeah.
Okay. No, thank you for adding that. I think bottom line is that we all come from the motherland.
Yeah, we all come from, most of us, I would say, come from one lineage. There's some other things where you start dealing with the, other sciences and other people, Anunnaki and different people that actually traveled to the planet as well. They may have come from a different lineage source, but that's another subject, and I don't know if they're in the DNA process that we're using to determine our lineage.
Okay. Thank you guys for sharing. I know Sister Selassie and a couple folks in Africa are trying to join. We are sorry that the the feed is not connecting to you all as the hope. Please keep trying. Hopefully, we should be able to get you in there. Sister, yeah. At what point did you change? Did you take on this name? And then, if you can tell us about SANKOFA Reparation Assistance Program.
So okay. You know, I went through phases. When you are connecting with your African self, you go through these things. So I started basically, like a lot of us, it was Egypt. And so I had an ancient Egyptian name at first, even if, in fact, my youngest child is Asar, which is an ancient Egyptian name of a deity. So, and then as I began to study a lot of African history, I came across a very powerful woman by the name of Yasantua.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so enamored and so just the same feelings I have for Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth and so many of our sister warriors in the United States. I had this great and deep admiration for Queen Mother Yasantua. So I took on the name Yasantua, and because I'm born on Thursday, it made it easy to be Yasantua. So then in my dealings with the diaspora and helping and doing all the things I could do to try to provide assistance and information and being a resource for our people, that people started calling me Sister Ya. So that's how that name came back. And I like Sister Ya. So I kind of dropped the Asantewa and just became Sister Ya.
Sister Ya, okay. And you know, it also means, of course, it also means somebody born on a Thursday.
Yes, exactly. And because I do have some percentage of Ghanaian, it's about 13%, but the Nigerian piece came a bit stronger. And I said to my husband, I said, you never thought you came all the way to America, you still married a Nigerian woman. So yes.
KWABENA, at what time did you decide? Did you and your wife finally say it's time for us to go and permanently live in Africa?
Similar to other stories, it happened in different times. Our first time permanently was in about 2005. We packed up. We had made the plan. We came to Ghana. We opened up a small company. We rented and so forth. But similar to the story of Sister Yao, our issue was infrastructure. And our business is IT, and it requires infrastructure. So at that point in time, that venture didn't work the way that we planned it to. And we ended up having to leave and go back to the United States and reset. But the destiny of coming here had never went away. It never subsided. So we just reset. We chose a better time. And essentially that's how we ended up moving to East Africa, because for IT at the time when we did try to move, it was better. So to answer your question, is as far back as 2005 when we actually started the move.
So, ABENA, was it difficult at the time when, was it mutual decision? It was a matter of husband wanted to go and wife not too sure, or this was like, we all,
Oh, sorry, my video is frozen,
yes.
But you can hear me?
We can, yes.
Okay. Actually, no, we have been blessed to be the couple that we've been to each other, because independent of my husband, from I was in high school, I actually met someone from Uganda, and I learned a couple of Swahili words. And so Africa has always been on my mind. And of course, listen to all of the reggae artists and things like that. So it was something that was always in the back of our heads. And then when we were, I'm not sure if if anybody on the panel might know, but when we were in Toronto, we got into the Pan-African movement, and because, you know, at the time that they, truth be told, there were issues that was going on in Canada as well as that was going on in America, where you had several incidents with the, you know, Black people and the police, or different, you know, authorities. And so we started to become more and more Pan-African and conscious about Africa, and desiring to go check it out ourselves, for, you know, wanting to be in a better place.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was around that time that we specifically started talking about going to Africa. And it just happened that we met a lot of people that were either traveled to Ghana or from Ghana. And so, and then when we married that with our Jamaican background, which has so much of the Santi culture in it, you know, it made sense for us to go to Ghana. So we just looked at each other and we're finishing each other's sentences, you know?
Okay.
All right, when he said a date, and I go, okay, let me just get online to book this. So it was a synergy, and we worked together the whole way. Even when we came to Ghana, had to go back to the US, and on the way, we said, okay, our daughter's in university, so now we can actually really pack up and leave. And at that time, he was flying from LA to Ghana to reestablish the business, to get a place, and, you know, reopen the office. And he stopped in Ethiopia and gave me a call and said, you know, I think you'll really like Ethiopia. And I said, what about Ghana? He goes, I'm going, but I think you should really come check Ethiopia out. And I came, and it was like, yeah, I see what you're saying. So we've always been like that, you know, with each other, and the passion for Africa.
Awesome. No, thank you guys so much for sharing. Sister, yeah, I wanted to ask you, I asked earlier, but I think if you can help us, what is SANKOFA Reparation Assistance Program? And are you operating it from the US or in Africa?
It's registered in the United States, in the state of Wyoming, and also in Ghana. We are a nonprofit organization out of the state of Wyoming, and we are NGO here in Ghana. It was something that was put on my spirit, my heart to do, because having been coming here for more than a decade, I saw the struggle that a lot of our people were having to repatriate and come to Ghana and stay in a meaningful and sustainable way. A lot of people, particularly the young people, the younger people who hadn't reached the age of retirement, who didn't have that, you know, guaranteed steady income, were struggling to stay. People were coming, and then they would, you know, even if they were able to save up a little bit of money, it, you know, eventually it would run out because there was nothing in place to really assist people in staying. So witnessing that, I said, you know, it's not really fair that our people were taken away against their will, and now we want to come home, and we can't even come home because of generations and generations of economic and social oppression. We don't have the resources to come home. And it's becoming a movement of elderly people, people who, you know, are retired and they have, you know, the steady income, the Social Security to stay. Or a situation where, you know, there you got your Dave Chappelle's and those people who have that money to come and stay. But the average diasporan, whether they be from the UK, from America, from Canada, or, you know, the Caribbean islands, don't have the resources to pick up and move on the other side of the world. So that is where the SANKOFA repatriation assistance idea came from. And because I am a Garveyite, and leaning and learning from what his goals and missions were. I kind of formulated it after that, and I said, listen, while a lot of our people don't have the resources individually to go back to Africa, collectively we can repatriate ourselves. We don't have to wait for reparations if we pool our resources. And like other races and nationalities of people do, they do it all the time. If we do it, we can go home. We can go back to where we came from. And like the sister said earlier, coming from my profession is criminal law. I was a criminal defense attorney and a criminal prosecutor, and I saw the disparity in the criminal justice system in the United States up close and personal. And that is kind of what made me be like, I don't want to be here. I don't want my children here. I don't want to be here. I want to go somewhere where we're not targeted just because of the color of our skin. So that is kind of the thing that started pushing me towards Africa in the first place. And I know that a lot of our people are stuck. Basically, we are being re-victimized. It's a continuing victimization because people want to leave, but they can't leave. You would be astounded to know the number of people who really want to come back to Africa. They just cannot. They don't have the resources. So that is why, and that is how SANKOFA Repatriation Assistance Program came about. We're young. We're still in our infancy phase, trying to get people to understand that we have to move collectively. We have to pool our resources. This is how we make an impact. This is how we make an impact even with the government here, because as quiet as it's kept, they will tell you anything about come home, but at the end of the day, it comes down to what are you bringing? What is the benefit of you being here? And we have to organize ourselves. And so that is the goal of the SANKOFA Repatriation Assistance Program.
So thank you so much for sharing. And so if somebody wants to repatriate, and they contact your website or they contact you guys, you are able to assist them financially and logistically to move to any part of Africa or Ghana. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
I'm not sure if you're talking to me because the internet is acting up and I can't make out anything that you're saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me try to repeat it. So what I'm saying is, if anybody is listening now, or just looking up, researching stuff online, and they came across SANKOFA Reparation Assistance, say they don't have money, like you said, they don't have the finances, or lack some of the logistical items that they need to move to Ghana, your organization is able to help them financially and or logistically to move to Ghana or Africa. Is that exactly what it is? Okay. Sorry about that, listeners. We're still trying to get this conversation going. But KWABENA, Dr. Lord, I'll come to you in a second. Thank you so much for being very patient with us. I think we have people are now just waking up in Africa, in Ghana. So they're waking up and coming to the show. So please bear with us. No, I was just kidding. But we have a
hello, brother.
Yes.
Okay, the Wi-Fi has cleared up. Can you repeat your question now? I'm sorry.
My question is, if somebody's listening now and they want to move to Ghana or any part of Africa, can you hear me? All right. Looks like there's a challenge there. Okay, we will keep trying. But KWABENA, so okay, now you moved to Africa. Was it difficult for you to establish the business that you've always wanted to establish in Africa? And if there were challenges, what were those challenges? KWABENA.
So I guess I could only speak if it was difficult in terms of there were difficulties. Yes, it wasn't overly difficult as compared to, let's say, establishing a business in the United States. A lot of it requires some of the same things, but of course, Another level of difficulty that was added was coming from the fact that we were coming from someplace else, that we had to have the means to maintain ourselves while we were trying to establish the business. Of course, there's slightly different regulations and so forth. But our history has a path of trying to establish the business in 3 different countries in East Africa so far. So initially, we started out in Ethiopia, and Ethiopia has slightly different regulations as compared to some of the other countries around, but many of them are very similar. You have to choose your category. You oftentimes have to bring in a particular amount of investment income into the country in order to either get your license or actually to open a business in some cases. And you have to actually legally create the business on the ground. So opening up, get your licenses and so forth. So that process can be a daunting process, particularly if you have to go and come. And so one of the other challenges that you're met with is continuity, to try to be on the ground or have somebody on the ground that is able to help you with this process. Because I'm not sure if any country in the world you can just, snap a finger and open up a business, but certainly that's not the case here in the continent. And there are rules, there are regulations, there are procedures, and there's also other challenges that'll come your way. So I'll say that there are difficulties. It's not impossible. It does take the time. It does take some level of research, understanding the industry that you're going into and what the requirements are, and also the particular country and what their rules and regulations are. So that would be my advice if anybody's going to try to do it, but it's not impossible.
Right.
And we have been able to do it, and it requires a lot of perseverance. It really does.
Sister ABENA, as a mother, how difficult was it for you to go through the transition, finally establish, get the business going on, running the family and all of that?
A lot of work, and I had challenging moments as well, because we initially started in Ghana in 2006, when one of the older daughter was in college and the younger one was in high school. And it was difficult because we wanted to actually just transfer the one that was still in high school to be schooled in Ghana while we were there. But at that time, the challenges, especially for the fact that we're in technology, our industry, if I was a nurse, maybe I still would have stayed, more than likely. But because we're in technology, we needed infrastructure that would support the business, support what my husband does, to bring in the income. And that was challenging with the blackouts, the internet, and then also to keep our younger daughter at that time in the academic program. She was in the US, she was in the IB program. It was very expensive in Ghana for us. So putting her in a private school in Ghana, it was very expensive. So when you put all of those things together, it was challenging. And that's why we ended up, all the culmination of all of those, having to put the business on hold in Ghana, go back to the US to have her finish high school. And so we restarted the repatriation process when she actually was then in university. So it is very challenging for people who are coming with children. Back then it was more challenging. Nowadays, especially with more people homeschooling, or smaller school programs, it's a bit easier now for families to move with the children. And also many of the cities across the continent, when you're in the city, there are activities for the children. So, games, outdoor games, outdoor activities. So at this era, it's a bit easier for families to do so. But just bear in mind that it's still a lot of work, to make sure that the children are transitioning well, because you're picking them up and taking them away from a culture that they know to a place that may not speak the language. You know, other children who look like them think they are different. So you'll have those as a mom to deal with. I'll sneak in here real quick. I actually am the chairperson for an NGO that is similar to what SISTA is doing in Tanzania. We started an NGO here to help those from the diaspora who want to return to the continent and pick Tanzania to help them to transition. And we've had a lot of families that have come. It started out, the influx started in last June. And around this time last year, I noticed a lot of women were coming with male children. And when I looked at the stats, many were single moms with boys. And then you had families that would predominantly have male children that were coming. And I knew why, you know, because of what was going on in the US, especially. And so we've had to, many of the families have had to get together to try to create things for their children to make it be an easier transition for them.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. You're watching the Progressive Mind Show live on Facebook and on YouTube. It is 5 p.m. It's 6 minutes past 5 p.m. CST. And we encourage you to share the feed wherever you're watching us on, so we can get this message out. These are brothers and sisters who are living in Africa, who have left the West or North America to live in Africa. We want to listen to them regarding their transitioning, why they left, and how Africa is treating them. All right, since most people in the West call Africa all kinds of names, these ones have left the best of the best and supposedly have gone to live in Africa, which is not supposed to be the best. Okay, so but why would anybody do that, and why would people want to take that decision? Now, it's not for me to justify what the negative narratives about Africa is. No, because I'm an African. I know it's the richest continent on earth. It's the land of great people, hospitable people, all types of resources. But the narrative is not that, you know, as we know it on mainstream media. So please help us share the feed on Facebook and on YouTube. You can ring in later in the show at number 815-277-5047. The number again is 815-277-5047. If you have a question or a comment for my great guest this evening, KWABENA and KWABENA James and ABENA James. KWABENA James is representing Tanzania. They are both married, living in Africa. They switched from Tanzania to Kenya, but KWABENA James is representing Kenya. ABENA Grace is representing Tanzania. TONYA, Sister Ya, was on a little while ago. I think her internet is back. She is in Ghana. And Dr. Lord is in the United States, planning to move to Gambia. Dr. Lord,
yes.
Before we come to you, let's take a few comments on our feed. We have okay, Maurice, I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna work on that. Make sure that the channels to which you guys can watch the show is clearly stated on the flyer. So thank you so much, Maurice, for bringing that to my notice. The team will take will work on this. M Brown Sugar One says, looking forward to the broadcast. Okay, so M Brown, I hope you're on now. It's reparation, not reparation. Oh, repatriation. Yes, repatriation. Thank you so much, Ahmed. And we have Rebecca Mode says, yeah, thank you, Rebecca, for watching. Bridget says, hi, Progressive Minds. Thank you so much, Bridget, for chiming in. Watching from Stone Mountain, Georgia. This is Ikena Ubaka. This one is from Anastas Anderson. Hi to all. Thank you so much, Anastas, for joining in. Hi to you as well. This is Monisha. Big ups to Sister Ya. Thank you so much, Monique, for Monisha, for the support. And then she says, you are right, Sister Ya. People do want to leave, but do not have the resources. She says, absolutely, collectively is key. And then Africa's resources make the world go round. Every part of this continent depends on Africa's resources, not just natural resources like material resources, but the human resources, because we are great people. We make magic. We're magical people. We make things happen. So if you have African in anything you're doing, you're bound to succeed. One of the reasons why America is great is because African Americans built it, and Africans came here and built it. So we are glad that they did it for some of us who migrate from Africa to come and enjoy what you have built. I don't know why you decided to leave what you've built for us to enjoy and go to Africa. Sister, yeah, no, but I was just kidding. But on that note, let me go to Dr. Lord. Dr. Lord, you're now planning to go to Gambia. So tell us the initiatives you've made so far. Are there any challenges already?
Well, there's always challenges. You just have to overcome them as they arise. Sometimes you can say that the biggest challenge is resources and making sure that, things are happening along the way as you expect. If you're not on site, a lot of times things don't move as you would expect them or would like for them to move because, you're not on site. I would say for the decision to do it or actually make the move moving forward is because we have always had the inclination or the desire to move abroad and be closer to what would be called our lineage. And so when we had the opportunity, we saw that there was some pretty good opportunities there because, again, Gambia itself is the smallest country. 2 million inhabitants. It's an English-speaking country. It shares its geographics when it was a monolithic planet a long time ago with the same land base, same energy. So it kind of reminds me of where we're from here in Georgia. But more importantly, it was to be able to move and do something for people abroad as well as ourselves and connected to. So like I like bridging the gaps. So that's where Histrotech came in. We bridged those two. So we wanted to actually bridge the African Americans or Africans in the diaspora with Africans on the continent because it is our lineage. And in order for things to progress and move forward, we have to reconnect as time moves through the time illusion, as we call it, that we are moving through. So the difficulties, we're working through them. If you're not used to hot weather, get used to it. If you're not used to electricity going off, get used to it. I mean, that's kind of amazing to me that you still have those kind of problems in at this time and age. Wi-Fi, internet, electricity, water, just things that aren't being dealt with on a larger scale. And it's unfortunate that Africa is the supply of all other countries and has been able to be colonized, and that we can't seem to keep electricity on. Is that by design? What is that? Everywhere else in the world can. Well, what is the problem that we can't do? We have all the resources in the world. It's something bigger going on than just can't keep electricity on. I mean, the biggest countries is Ghana and Nigeria. You still have electrical outlets. That's make no sense whatsoever in the world, just in the time frame and technology that we have to our access. So we're looking at doing something in Gambia, which we're going to eliminate that. I mean, why can't we own our own ISP? I mean, why are we not thinking about that? Why are we not thinking about doing things for ourselves in terms of technology and moving forward in owning the technology? We always want to get somebody else's technology. We want a Facebook or Google account, but we don't own the data. We don't own the hardware that all this information is sitting on. Why not? I mean, so that's where Histrotech is coming in with actually starting with our family history and having a place that you can store that information. Then I say move forward into biological data, which also we have to learn to own our digital real estate, because if we, that's where everything is going digitally. And then also, as we preserve the history, which is the history and technology, Historytech is preserving history through art, science, and technology. So what you have to do, or what we're doing, is actually using the highest degree of technology that's available at the time to preserve history. So therefore, in the future, we'll be able to access that information more readily and easily than what we have now with, grandma's pictures under the bed. Nobody knows who they belong to. Who are they? Why? Because we didn't use the technology that was available to preserve the history. So with Histrotech, bridge the gap. We take the elders. We got the whole box of pictures under the bed. Then we bring in the youth that knows the technology and know how to scan and put things in. So you bring them two together. So now you have the education of the elders teaching the young, and you have the young teaching the elders about the technology. So you bridge that gap. And so now at the same time, you have the educational process happening where they're learning their history, that you have a sharing of technology. And therefore, as we know, we have Alzheimer's and all these kind of things that they have coming up now. But we also understand that thinking about and revisiting these old pictures also extends your telomeres of your brain, and it keeps your brain active, and it causes things not to, to rejuvenate. So these are things that would also help in terms of, from a health perspective, as well as a genealogical perspective, is preserving your history. So with that in mind, we gathered, we acquired land, which took a period of time. It's a process because sometimes they say you can't own land. You only can own it if you do. You lease it for X amount of years. And so, there's other processes you have to go through in order to get certain contracts and rights in to be able to own it for your family. My thing is this: if I get some land and I can get it for 99 years, and if I don't do anything with it, or the people who come after me, because I'm not going to be here 99 years, don't do anything with it, then it needs to go somebody else. I mean, what can I do? Why should I hold on to something forever, and not do anything with it? So it's kind of like what we see now, that Africa, the shape that Africa is in, it's in that way because of the people that are in power right now. So therefore, as the planet goes into its planetary shift, I think that Africa is going to go into a shift, as well as individuals, as I hear on this panel, that, a lot of people want to repatriate and come be somewhere else. And I think we should. So that's where we're kind of like building the history base, so people can move forward and say, I may learn about this. And so maybe I have an interest in coming to Gambia. I have an interest in visiting the continent and doing some things there. And other people, as other people on the panel having other successful businesses there, they'll see that, you can go to Africa and not get eaten by giraffes and gorillas or attacked by lions, because that's the story that's being told. They say, I'm going to Africa, but you're going to get eaten by lions, and attacked by gorillas. No, they don't even have those all over the place. Gambia, we have some monkeys, and more birds. We have over 136 species of birds. That's why it is a community where the Europeans for years come down and watch birds, which is being destroyed now by the Chinese because they're coming to do industrialization. But then this is then again occurring because of the corruption that exists across the whole continent of Africa, not just in the Gambia. So we, as the diasporans, as we learn and get educated and take our few dollars, because our dollars multiply more. In Gambia, the dollar's 50 to 1. So guess what you could do in Gambia with $1,000 a month, a whole lot. And in some other places, it's different. Like in South Africa, I think it's 14 to 1. So these are the things that are we're looking at, and we're packaging it up so that there could be something that we can educate people moving forward. So that's kind of where we are now. Incidentally, you had a question.
No, so I'll have you continue from incidentally, but thank you so much for sharing what your vision is for Africa, and for your submission is very. I think you brought up a lot of points. ABENA and KWABENA, whilst you were listening to him, is there anything that jumped at you that you wanted to respond to?
I think I agree with, and I see the vision of what's being said, particularly owning a lot of our own technology. So we ourselves are in the technology space, and we understand how precarious a position that we are in when even the communications between us is only controlled by someone else. When all information is digitized and it's stored on somebody else's server, somebody else has the opportunity to, if they really want to, change your history. Because there's no more physical representation of that. It's now all digital. So I think some of the things that Dr. Lord is bringing up, as a technology person, I really appreciate what he's saying. I really wanted to continue on that line.
All right, thank you. ABENA, I don't know if if you had any comments you wanted to make.
Yes, I'll come in from the other side. It has been an issue for us as well. And like I said earlier, that's the infrastructure as it relates to technology was a determining factor for us staying in Ghana in 2006. It really impacted us in Ethiopia in 2010 when we moved to Ethiopia. Just from, in some countries, it's one telecom company and is run by the government. Sometimes it's the power. Fast forward to now, though, we see the efforts that Ethiopia is working on by getting power from that dam. We also see what's going on in Kenya with the different power sources that they're tapping into, geothermal. In Tanzania, they are working aggressively to capture power from the wind. There's also huge solar initiatives that's going on. And so, yeah, it's 2021, and this is now that we see this significant push in that direction. And there are many reasons for that over the years, from, to use a line my husband uses, we're finding out that the generation that's just before me, so let's say those who are in power and whether politically or company-wise, corporate-wise, are, between 50 and 70. They might be one generation off the farm, and so coming into the modern era. And then there's a lot of other reasons I don't want to get into now, but there have been significant reasons why this is just now happening. We're behind in some regards, and we're trying to catch up. But I will just say that when you look across many of the countries now who are pushing real hard, they are tapping into their natural resources to help to do better with connectivity, with the water, electricity, internet, connection. And we are just really here to acknowledge that, support them in any way we can. But we have to make a difference now. We can't wait any longer, Yeah. We've got to fix these things and get these things in place because, look what's happening to SISTA.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be. So I support that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. And it seemed to be a common problem anytime we're trying to connect, folks from Africa, like you said. So it sounds very daunting. But like you said, we can do it because it's a lot of work. But let me take a few comments. Let me take a few comments from our feed. Rachel, watching from Chicago. Thank you for joining in. Coco Benji says it's more than just the electricity. It goes from factories, etc. We need to be more self-reliant and not dependent on the Western world. Even if you don't have the resources to start your own, invest in an already existing business or collaborate. In the West, we learn how to work independently. We need to unlearn that. Okay. This is from Coco Benji. Thank you so much, Coco Benji, for bringing in your comments. I know you're watching us on our YouTube link. Thank you so much. This is from Maurice Sinclair. Thank you, Jamaican in Atlanta, living in Ghana. Thank you, Maurice. And then Monisha says, I agree, Coco Benji. It's 5:25 p.m. CST. You're watching the Progressive Mind Show live in the beautiful city of Chicago. We'll take a short commercial break. When we come back, the show continues. This is the Progressive Mind Show. I'm your host, Alinko. ABENA, Santua, no, not SISTA, ABENA, KWABENA, and Dr. Lord are my guests this afternoon. We're talking about Diasporans living in Africa. We shall be right back.
Welcome. Chris Toffee Financial Company is ready and available either group or one-on-one basis to help you understand different investment opportunities in America that you can invest in with any amount. The right college account for your children to withdraw money. We can help you to get appropriate life insurance that you can withdraw money or take loan. And if you're in the process of buying or refinancing a vehicle or a house, we can help by building up your credit score. We also repair credit by permanently removing negative items such as medical bills, collections, late payments, foreclosure, bankruptcy, inquiries. We also help all businesses to get business loans and credit by building their business credit. If you need any of our services, please feel free to contact us at 512-999-6724 or chris@christoffee.com or visit www.christoffee.com. Thank you.
Toffee, of course, for your life insurance policy, if you want to repair your credit, if you're looking for assistance financially for your businesses, contact Chris Toffee. If you look up Chris Toffee online, you would find him. He's in Texas, a great gentleman who has time. He would listen to you and walk you through the processes. Very, very friendly and knowledgeable guy when it comes to finance, insurance, and taxes. You really want to work with Chris Toffee. Fine gentlemen, thank you so much for chiming in and for bringing in your comment, Maurice and Monisha and all of you who have joined us. We will go back to our guests this evening who are sharing their experiences living in Africa. KWABENA, we're talking about some of the challenges now. I'm sure you guys have heard about what A.K.A is doing in Senegal and across the continent of Africa. How significant, effective is his project? Because I know he's trying to build the A.K.A city. You guys are down there, and I'm sure you have some type of, if not relationship, but some type of communication with him or his partners. How do you assess his project and his chances of making it to the vision that he has for himself in Africa? I'll start with Sister ABENA.
Okay, so I've been in Tanzania now for over a year, and my focus has been on this side and what's on the ground and going on here.
Okay. So, that's fine. If you haven't, followed his work there, then that's absolutely fine.
I just know a little bit about it, but in terms of impact, I think what he's doing, just from the reports that I've read, is noble. It's necessary because it fits in line with what we're talking about and pushing through infrastructure to so many areas that's been left out. One of the things I find that happens in Ghana and here, a lot is concentrated in the cities, and not much gets out into the rural areas. And even if you have small towns in the rural areas, it's still so far behind, and oftentimes, is the last to get the expanse of the highways or the infrastructure. So I really think it's necessary. It's commendable. It's something that many other people who are in that position should pick up and do. It's 55 countries. Pick a place and do what you can. So it's something that's needed, that is, respected and things like that. On the ground here in Tanzania, so far, we haven't been blessed like that with anyone who, can bring all of that in. The government is doing a lot. Some of the work is being done by the universities, you know, but we want more of us to come and to do those kinds of things in as many areas on the continent that you know they can. So it's not enough.
Great point. Great point.
Yeah.
Covenant, do you want to add your voice to that? You think that Stephen Harvey has gone to Ghana. He tried to, I don't know, nobody should quote me on this, but he tried setting up, you know, some of his TV shows, you know, back in Ghana. That's what I heard. Folks like Steve Wonder is planning on moving to Ghana, right? We have so many celebrities who went to Ghana. Do you think that if we have a lot of influx of all this, you know, monies within the African American community going to Africa, you think it will make a significant change in, you know, bridging the gap economically?
I would say that that's one way of looking at it, but Africa as a continent, we're talking about countries, right? And a country has a GDP that outstrips any individual. So, you know, it's quite noble to look at it in terms of an individual that is coming to do some sort of a project or something like that. But there is a lot that is occurring in this continent right now that doesn't make the news media that would outstrip any one of these things that you've mentioned right now. So let's just take a look at Konza. So anybody can go and they could Google Konza city in Kenya, and you'll see that a brand new city is being built right now in Kenya that embodies technology. It's happening now. If you go to Nigeria, you'll see Echo Atlantic is a brand new city that's being built. So these type of things are imminent. They're occurring right now. There's immense amount of investment that is occurring in the African continent because we're dealing with countries that have GDPs in the billions of dollars and GDPs that have not even realized their potentials yet. So if we kind of shift the focus on that on a countrywide basis, you now see the potential, the challenge, and if you also look beyond that, you will also see that there's an enormous amount of change that is occurring in this African continent right as we speak that outstrips anything that we've even begun to talk about. There are multi-billion-dollar projects that are on the ground running right now. Trains are being built, cities are being built. You know, countries are revitalizing their electrical grid. The Chinese are in every single corner trying to get every project that they can. Our 10 years in East Africa has been so transformative that we say that if you leave a city and come back in 2 years, you're lost. You can't even find your way around because the new road is running this way and there's a new skyscraper going up that way. So what I want to shift a conversation like this towards is what is actually happening now, and it's way beyond what any individual can actually accomplish. The entire continent is shifting towards a particular direction, and it is billions upon billions of dollars worth of projects that are actually on the ground, started. Some of them don't make it, but that are actually on the ground. And also the African economy is beginning to kick in. So an economy outside of what outsiders are investing in, right? So I pasted in a link to Byron, Kenya, as an example. And, you know, just if anybody wants to, you can just go and take a look at some of the things that is happening in Nairobi in terms of housing and development, and you might be shocked. You might be shocked at the quality of the development, the amount of development. You might also be shocked at the cost, right? So Africa is no longer this backwater place where, you know, you can buy like the entire country for, you know, a lunch money or something like that. It's really stuff that is happening. That's what I wanted to say on that.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. What is interesting is that you mentioned, you know, these developments that are ongoing, the Chinese coming in and trying to take up all these projects. Now, you know, with these developments, with these infrastructure developments, comes, like you said, cost. Somebody has to fund these projects. Do you think that the people of Africa, the people in Africa, let me just say, do you think that Africans have the financial capacity as individuals or small businesses to take up this project, or to identify these developmental opportunities and fund them, to be able to achieve this economic developments that it's booming is hovering on the continent of Africa? And I think that's where maybe the African American conversation comes in, because if the Chinese are taking advantage of the opportunity, why not the resources in the African American community here in the United States?
Absolutely. We're missing out on an opportunity. We're missing out on an opportunity, but everything has to happen in its time, right? And we're working on our own problems, and we're also trying to organize ourselves. But there's a tremendous amount of opportunity that is occurring. When you're talking about building railroads, you're talking about things in the billions of dollars, dams and things like that. So if we in the African American community were even supplying a fraction of the services or the resources, we'd actually make something off of it, because it's eminent.
If I could chime in on that as well. You mentioned a lot of points there, because there a lot of things that's going on in Africa. Like you said, that as you speak, there's a project in Senegal, you may know or not, the PNT project. They're spending $69 billion to develop a technological center in Senegal as we speak. It's not, who knows about that? That outdwarfs the $6 billion that A.K.A. is working on raising to build this city. So, like you mentioned, Echo Atlantic, they're building a Dubai, in Nigeria. Who knows about that? Who owns the projects? Again, let's go a little bit further. Who's investing and financing these projects? Again, we're talking about a continent that is the richest continent on the planet, and as far as the last time I checked, all melanated people were presidents, maybe except for one country. So what's the problem here? Why is the country being sold out the way that it is, and we have our melanated people in charge? Maybe because of again, we go back to tribalism, caste systems, and class, and people are corrupt. And so things happen. Now, I can understand, say for instance, like Gaddafi. Why was he taken out of there? Because he was talking about going to a gold standard. What would that have done for the European countries? Maybe it would have put them out. Oh, maybe he was talking about putting up a satellite. I mean, Africa is renting their satellite system. They're renting it. They don't own it. They're renting it, which by it's like $400-something thousand a year, where he can actually put a bird up in the sky. But when you start talking about that, now you talk about self-efficiency and control. It's a lot of things that's happening, and we here, as I said again, as we learn and get in time to move forward into those positions, we should be taking advantage of that. As far as the economics, Africa has lots of billionaires, not just millionaires, billionaires. Why can't they come together and put in roads and build infrastructure and take care of the grid? It's beyond me. And I think part of it is fear, and I get it. When you have colonizations and colonies, other countries coming in and say, well, we want this particular, we want coltan from you, we want whatever it is that we're getting from you, and if we'll give you this money, but we'll keep you alive. So what you want to do, you rather be alive or you rather be, stand.
How many times have you been to Africa, Dr. Lord? Thank you so much for that great point, though.
How many times? At least in the last 6 years, 8 times.
Okay, to just Gambia or different African countries?
Gambia, Senegal. Those are the 2 places, because they're basically, I have to travel through one to the next. So, yeah. Okay.
No, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Would like to open the phone. I mean, the phone lines has been open, 815-277-5047. Anybody wants to share their opinion, ask a question, or be part of the conversation, please feel free to do so. It's on the screen. It's at the right bottom corner of the screen. If you wanted to call, if you want to chime in, again, 815-277-5047. We have okay. So I think we lost sister. Yeah, we got her for a second, and then I think she lost. I mean, the feed went off. Sister Abena Grace, do you want to? I don't know if you had a comment to contribute earlier that I missed.
No, but what I wanted to add to where the direction the conversation is going, and we find ourselves in a weird position because we're here on the ground. We see the need for some of the things that is happening. We would want our people to come back, and for those outside and those on the continent who have the resources to contribute to these things putting in place. And so, we see that it's being done in many cases, not by us. But then we understand that we need it done. And so, okay, this country or this company, they come here and they bid or however else they get the projects, and the things are happening, and we appreciate that. But I think with all that's going on this era, this year, this time that we're in, we have to then encourage our people from across the diaspora to come back and contribute in every way that you can, because the opportunities to, even though the Chinese are here, the Europeans have, in some areas, especially in East Africa and Kenya, they never left. After colonization or outward colonization, let me just, for want of a better word, stopped, they were still here. They never left. And so, but we have been missing in large numbers from the picture for a while. And so we've got to come because they are here and they are doing these things. The highways are being built in Kenya. Like KWABENA said, the roads are being built, which is needed. Ports are being built, but we've got to come and insert ourselves as well.
Okay.
There are opportunities. I'll just put a shameless plug. Our NGO, the six region TZ.org in Tanzania, we have an opportunity. This came to us. Teachers are needed here in Tanzania and in Rwanda as well. We have some connections. So we have, and yeah, I brought it from large company scale, country scale to a small personal scale. But all of the in between is valid, and all of the in between is necessary. So there are opportunities for people to be able to come, as individuals. There's also a couple of smart cities are being built. They have acquired the land in Tanzania. One is happening in Rwanda as well. And a lot of other places are now jumping on board with the smart city initiatives across the continent. So large companies, from the diaspora can come. CARICOM has opened up some door with Kenya. So we also now have a way for people from the Caribbean to also come and contribute through CARICOM to what's going on in the continent. So yes, a lot of big things are already being done, but there's still a lot more opportunities for us to come as individuals and as countries and as large companies. Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for sharing.
Can I jump in here and piggyback on what my brother and sister have said? And I had to come outside, that's why it's dark, but I get a better connection out here. So listen, absolutely 100% there's development happening. I've seen it with my own two eyes over the last 10 years. There are roads being put in, there are railways being put in, things are happening. So it's absolutely true. The only thing, like my sister said, that is missing is us. Other people are coming here to do that work. other people are coming here to benefit. It is not the diaspora that is coming home, and we have the resources to do it collectively, but we are not doing it. We insist on, I'm going to do my own thing by myself. I'm not going to trust any other Black person. I don't know what that's about. Dr. Lord mentioned earlier the tribalism and all of that. I don't know what is stopping us from coming together to develop our ancestral homeland, to do the work that needs to be done. These are the comparative. When you look at, let's say, Ghana, the country of Ghana as it exists today, the Republic of Ghana. The Republic is Ghana. My mother is older than the Republic of Ghana. So I don't like to get into comparing Ghana to the United States, which built its economic prowess, its power on the enslavement of African people over the course of hundreds of years. That's how they got to that position. And so did the UK and a lot of other countries, France, and so on and so forth. These are baby countries. Ghana is a baby country. Ghana, as we know it today, is a baby country. And it has come a long way in the 69 years, 68 years that it's been into existence. So let's remember that. But also let us come together and say, because like my sister said, when I go to some of the best establishments, they are owned by the Lebanese. They're owned by people that are not us. When I go to the, some of the best high-rise developments, they are owned by Indians, Lebanese, and so many other people. But not us. We are missing. We are the missing ingredient to what is happening. And I feel like if anybody is supposed to benefit from the growth that is happening on the continent, it should be Black people. But we are just sitting around and watching everybody else do it. And I don't know how to get us to understand that we have to organize ourselves. Maybe a lot of us don't have that money individually, but collectively, I know for a fact we have that money.
Thank you so much for sharing. Follow-up question. Now, I'll come to how your organization helps people who want to repatriate back to Africa. How easy is it for someone to transform, let's say, a capital of $50,000 into, let's say, $250,000 or even $500,000 in the course of a year, or let's say course of 2 years in Africa, based off your experiences there and from what you have seen? I'll start with KWABENA. I want all of you, the three of you is going to respond, but let me start with KWABENA.
So ask the question again, please.
How feasible is for someone? How feasible can someone transform, let's say, a capital of $50,000, quadruple a capital of $50,000 in the span of a year or two in Africa? How feasible is that?
I guess it's possible if you really do your research and you choose your market effectively. So there's a lot of opportunity in agriculture. There's a lot of opportunity in technology and training and so forth. So always it is doing the research. It is understanding the market and where things are going. And it is having the ability to organize yourself and to get that done. So it's feasible, but it's not going to. It is more than just a notion, right? It's a real market here. There's really competition here. So you should approach it bringing your best game, in a very positive way, but bring your best game. Bring the game bring your A game. So if this A game doesn't work on Wall Street,
it's not going to work.
It may not work here, right? Because there's really competition here, and there are ideas pouring in, and there's people taking advantage of various different niches here. So we should also bring that level of quality to whatever we're doing on this continent.
Thank you for responding, because I heard, some of the Chinese, bring less, as small as 30, 50,000, 100,000, and be able to multiply that within, within the twinkle of an eye, within a span of a year or two, they become millionaires. And so, literally, is that possible? And so, thank you for sharing, Abena. In your own estimation, having worked there, your take.
Okay, I would say yes, and I would add what KWABENA said. You have to come knowing that you're going to have to work hard on this. You have to come knowing that you're bringing your best self, all that you know. Also, keep positive. When you run into the difficulties, know that, our ancestors went through so much more. Many of them died on the way. And the reason why I am here to come back to do this is because the one that I come from did everything to survive, And so you got to remind yourself when it does get daunting, when it gets heavy. But I would just say, let me give some examples real quick, because I think maybe part of your question would lead to this. But yes, so you can, agriculture is one quick way, or not quick, but one popular way across many of the countries. We experience it in Ethiopia, Kenya, and Tanzania. So you're in agriculture. Many countries in Europe can't feed themselves, and so they're dependent on products coming out of here. Truth be told, many of the people that we know, whether local Kenyan or local Tanzanians, that are into farming, you look at, you can buy 5 to 10 acre piece of land and plant something and get access to a market that is that sometimes you with your 10-acre farm can't even supply all their needs. So I know people who are supplying like beans and peas to European countries that struggle or go around to other farms to get produce from other farmers in the town so that they can meet and match the amount that's required. In Tanzania, this one sister from the diaspora started a farm. This was her first time doing this on a small acreage. And before her papayas were ripe, somebody from some European country just comes in and says, okay, I need X amount. So bought all of her papayas before they even got ripe to sell. So no, yeah, you can take 50,000 and can come and in a year or two, you do your research, you get your market things ironed out, your shipping, your arrangement with your clients, and you can turn that around in a year or two. It's definitely positive and possible. And I just talked about one industry, but two different scenarios in 2 different countries.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much. And the stories, are enormous. I know you all watch Wademaya on YouTube, and how he keeps, uncovering all these powerful stories of people who are into farming and to technology, into manufacturing, and all of that. So, thank you for sharing. It's also a notion that people struggle to get financial, just like here, but in Africa here it's more difficult. There are big businesses are sitting around, but the indigents can't find the capital to undertake this project. Is this a challenge that you guys have faced, and how have you been able to navigate it? And what are the opportunities there for even the diaspora, to take advantage of, because if there's lack of finance, maybe some of this millionaires or billionaires in here can go and set up financial institutions where they can lend money to. Because I have a friend who calls me every day and tells me, look, we need investors in the area of finance who can support some of these projects. How, true is this narration?
Well, for me, I'm going to give you a little anecdotal story. So my husband has a childhood friend, and I don't suggest that people go into these things without doing like, some background check and getting some assurities and things like that. But my husband has a childhood friend who's here in Ghana who is an herbal doctor and has herbal clinic, and he was
Before you continue,
doing.
Tanya, can you get close to the light behind you? Can you maybe walk close to it?
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that'd be good, so that we can. While she does that, I'd like to hear from ABENA. If you were to, some people ask me here. Some people say Africans should fix Africa. African Americans came here through slavery and all that, and struggle to build America. So if Africa is going through whatever they're going through, Africans should fix it and not come to America. What is your maybe response to that type of argument here?
Okay, you put me on a spot, but let me tell you, okay, so if I was asked that, my response would be, because I told you from the beginning, I'm a Pan-African. So it's Africa, is fixing Africa. That's what I would say to that. So whether you are an African in Jamaica or an African in the UK or in the US, right? The experience and knowledge that I'm hoping that you would have gotten, you can bring that to the table and add it to what was here, because colonization happened. And yes, we are responsible for some of where we are, but it's not totally us. When being in software development, programming, we know what programming is and to the extent that it impacts your life. And we know that many of us have been programmed to think a certain way and to react a certain way and to do some of the things that we find ourselves doing. And so I would say to that, no, it takes all of us. Yeah, those at home and those abroad, because we all were subjected to some level of enslavement, mental slavery and physical slavery. And we're still trying to get out of that space, to be now our own thinkers, to think positive about ourselves, and to use our thoughts to then create what we want to see and the opportunities where what we want to see, the place we're living in. What does it look like?
Right.
What are we doing?
Right.
And so that would be my answer to them.
Thank you so much.
It's all of us.
Thank you. KWABENA, if you can be quick in your response to this same question, to someone who is not a Pan-African, doesn't even know what it is, and they make this type of argument, what would you, in a nutshell, say to them?
Well, if Africa isn't for them, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. It's not for everybody. Make the best of your life and what you've come to do. This is a continent. It is a race. It's not something small. It's not something parochial. Whenever it does something, it's going to impact the entire world, whether you like it or not. So there are things happening. The forces are coming together. And that's the argument that I engage in.
That's the powerful
that's how I look at it. So for those people who don't see it as their destiny, I don't judge them.
Okay.
I know what mine is.
I like the power, the forces are coming together. I love that. Dr. Lord, quickly.
Yeah, quickly. I was going to say this in terms of what Sister Yah was saying in terms of why the people don't get it. It's going to be very unfortunate at some point if we don't get it, because we're not going to get it. It's going to be too late. It's going to be over with. If you don't get on now, sort of like if we use this story or a parable of Noah's Ark, and if you didn't make it, or you didn't help build the boat, and you didn't make it on time to get in the boat, it's too late. And so that's kind of how it is going to be with Africa. We're trying, and you think that some things may happen that would cause people to change their mind, but it's been a program mindset, and sometimes, unfortunately, it's just things that just have to wear thin, and there's only going to be a certain amount of people that's going to get it mentally, psychologically, spiritually, and they're just going to be the ones. It's not going to be trying to save all the Black people, of 15% of America. They don't want to come. They're not coming. It ain't going to happen. and we run ourselves crazy trying to do it instead of staying in focus, keeping our vibration and energy in the proper direction, and then like energy and like vibrations kind of match. That's what happens when you get to a certain frequency. You match. Anything else that's not the same frequency, it ain't gonna work. Absolutely. So, and that's kind of what, you know, desponding, but you know, that's the way I look at it from this point. It's not for everybody.
Tonya, SAAFIR, ANKOMAH, Sister, yeah, please go ahead. I'm sorry I had to interrupt because we wanted to. I saw the opportunity. I saw the live, like, oh, okay, you know. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was only going to say there are a lot of brothers and sisters who are here on the continent who are doing good things, and they need investors. And I was given the example of a situation where my husband invested in a company that with a friend, somebody he knew, and it is paying off very well. The company is growing. It was already established. So that is an option as well. I like what the sister ABENA said about agriculture. That's something that my husband and I are looking at. Everybody got to eat. And so, listen, I was just contacted today from somebody from Dubai who's looking to source food from here, from Ghana. So this is something I don't know how our people got turned off from agriculture, but get your mind back on agriculture. Get your mind back in the soil. Get your hands in the soil, because Africa is the breadbasket of the world. Look at brothers and sisters who already have things going on and they need investors. That is an easy way for you to get, something going on the continent that can provide income and resources for you to be able to come home.
Powerful. Thank you so much for sharing. A few comments have come through, and I'd like to take them as we wrap up today's conversation. It is about what? Oh, it's a minute past 6 p.m. We already passed our time, but it seemed like that conversation is just now starting. Sister Ya is just now getting warmed up. I've
been woke up. It was the internet that was holding me back.
I know. I was messing with you when I said. I know. Thank you so much. I appreciate you hanging on, even with the frustration that you were getting from the internet, and we really, really appreciate that. Some people will be like, we've had situations where some people will be like, you know what, I'm done for the day, but you have hanged on. And it's because of the passion that you have for our people and the continent.
Absolutely.
So I really appreciate it. The Chinese are our new colonizers. You guys are in Africa. Do you see the Chinese?
No, I disagree. They are not.
Nope.
They are not. They are not. That's not true.
They're not taking over. They're not our new colonizers. Okay, so
no.
That is to
They are not.
Okay, good. Thank you. KWABENA, you are not saying anything. Do you see it any different?
No, I mean, the Chinese, if you want to call economic colonization, then maybe you could talk about it. But the Chinese, in terms of what we call colonization, they don't take the same approach. The Chinese want to be a world economic power.
Not.
Yeah.
That's it. But
because they want to become world economic power. They see the opportunity in Africa and they want to take hold of it before anybody comes in.
Africa is at the center of the globe. Every single continent surrounds Africa. It is anchored to the globe, okay? And if you want to go from east to west, you cross African airspace. So, what is happening is that the Chinese investment in Africa is only showing how crucial Africa is, or else they wouldn't be here. Right. And it is up to us more collectively to have a better sense of who and what we are and what we represent to this globe, in my opinion. So,
when you say us, what do you mean?
You mean as general knowledge of our people, you understand? So our education, our religious, our media systems.
You're talking about African descent all over the
African people, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So let me just put it in perspective this way. If you took wasteland in Africa, if you called, let's say, the Sahara Desert wasteland, you could take all of China and put it in our wasteland and we wouldn't miss it. Wow. So I always like to expand who and what we are to a different reality than it's oftentimes looked at. So yes, the Chinese can come and they can have a lot, but we have 1.6 billion people. There's economies that are growing just because of their own demand within the continent. right? And so we shouldn't really lose track of the fact that our own momentum is carrying us forward in some cases, not all cases, and not the way that it should be.
Okay.
And we should be able to take advantage of those opportunities also.
Yeah, and I'll chime in.
Can I say something here?
Yes,
Let me just be brutally honest.
Okay.
Stop blaming everybody. Stop. We have every opportunity to come to Africa and do exactly what the Chinese. Nobody is stopping us. Nobody is stopping Black people from coming to Africa to do exactly what the Chinese is doing and bringing and making money and building. Nobody is stopping us. Listen. This is what people in the world do. This is why Africans are leaving Africa, because they see an opportunity in Europe, they see an opportunity in America, they see opportunity somewhere, so they go where they see opportunity. This is the only thing that the Chinese people are doing. Okay, I see some opportunity in China. I mean, in Africa. That's why they are coming here. Don't be mad at those people. They are not doing anything by force. Okay. So what I'm saying is nobody is stopping African diasporans or any African people from bidding on those contracts. Nobody is stopping you from coming here to build roads. Nobody is stopping you from coming here to do anything. Stop blaming those people. Okay? Come and do the work. Come and do the work.
I'll add to that, and I'm glad she put it home to just like that, because that is true. It is an open door, and especially since they have the new open trade policy, you know, it's a lot more opportunities. But here's the thing: when the Chinese come in, the Chinese come in, they're business people. Like you said, it's not done by force. They're not coming in with guns. They're not holding anybody hostage. They come in to do business. Now it's up to the people who's doing the business to negotiate the contracts. Now, if we have these leaders up there who negotiate ridiculous contracts, that's their fault. It's not the fault. Now, here's the second part of that. When they come in and negotiate a contract and it's a bad contract to begin with, then they're getting paid under the table. Now you have corruption. So now that gives the Chinese the door to come in and do whatever they want. Because now you have a corrupt deal on the table. So now, just like anybody else, they have corrupt people everywhere around the world. So they could come in and say, well, instead of me saying I paid for this, I'm going to pay for that and get all of this. And who's going to stop them? Because they already paid under the table, and nobody's saying, no, we're not going to take that. No, you're not going to do that. But no, because of caste system, class, of whatever system they want to use, or tribalism, to say, well, I don't care as long as me and my people good. They don't care about the rest. That's how come Africa's in the shape that it's in today, is because over the time period, we have all these men, all these melanated men supposedly in charge, and it's going straight to hell. So what do you do to change that? You have to get people in place in position to say that this isn't going to happen. We're going to make change. And that's where I see where, as everything is changing, as we see from patriarchy to matriarchy, that, you know, it's time for the woman to be back in charge. And that's the additional reason why I'm working closely and moving closer to going back to Gambia sooner, because I'm working with Marie Sock. She's the presidential candidate, the only woman that has ever ran for the presidency of Gambia. So we're looking for change there. So as this change start happening across the country, as women start taking their natural seat of power, as men start supporting women to take the natural seat of power, we'll see the change in the continent, and it be ran more effectively and efficiently when we have that balance.
Awesome. Wow. Wow. Our time is fast spent. This has been powerful. We'll do this again, guys.
We need a part two. Yeah. We need a part two, because there's still a whole lot of stuff that I know. I was hoping to bring that didn't even get here.
I agree.
In terms of just advocacy now, I just show real quick. We're working on some advocacy initiatives with the African Union that hopefully the member states will do a better job at opening the door in terms of immigration policies for us to come and to stay longer than 90 days so we can get the work done. So that's one of the first things that I want to put out there on the widest platform as ever. We need those changes by the member states. Investigate us, do whatever check you need to check our CVs, check our background, but allow us to come and to stay so that we can do these things.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wow. Yeah. We would do the part two, and hopefully, I know Sister Ya will be, internet situation will be on point.
Well, I figured out the secret, so next time I know to just come outside anyway from the beginning.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, Sister Ya, ntuntum will.
Excuse me?
Ntuntum, I'm speaking Chi now.
Don't do that. Don't put me on the spot.
Mosquitoes.
Exactly. That's what I meant to say.
Yes.
Mosquitoes not disturbing you outside.
Yes, they are. They are.
But
in my 11 years of coming to the continent, I've never had mosquito malaria.
Yeah.
It seems as though they really don't bite me. I think they don't like my blood. Maybe it's because I'm 38% Nigerian. I don't know.
Nice.
Okay.
Awesome.
Wow.
Hey, finally, guys, I know we gotta go, but quickly, how are Africans handling what's the current situation with COVID in Africa? I know people are using a lot of local, medicine to kind of put it in check, but if you can just tell us briefly what the situation is.
Well, can I just say in Ghana, we are living our lives. We have since this thing started, less than 1,000 people have died from COVID. It hasn't stopped anything. Everybody is living their lives. I'm not trying to encourage anybody to be irresponsible, but at the end of the day, I don't see how it has stopped anything. It seems like people in the West are suffering far more than we are here in Ghana. Okay, I don't know what it's looking like in other countries. And I think our president, Nana Addo, kind of threw a little bit of shade at the last United Nations thing, because he was like, I know people were predicting that we would have problems, but we have less, we are affected less than all of you. So I was like, go Nana. We are fine. We are fine in Ghana. That's what I can tell you. I don't know. I will let my brothers and sisters speak about the other countries, but here in Ghana, we are fine. We are fine.
Okay.
We are enjoying life, oh. We are enjoying.
Oh, sister, I have to do another one just for you. No, KWABENA quickly.
KWABENA. Mm-hmm.
Listen, man, we're in Tanzania. There's no restrictions. I was just watching the sun go down. I watch people from all over the world gather in a beautiful place. So let us make the topic in terms of what affects us be what really affects us and not somebody else's agenda. That's all I have to say about that. But here in Tanzania, it is in the focal point. People are getting on with it.
Awesome. ABENA, Kenya.
Okay, so people are working hard, like KWABENA mentioned. The highways are going up, the railroads are continuing, and there are restrictions where you have to mask up when you're in public spaces, and that's and they are using different, what can I say? They're putting different, in terms of certain things that is asked of countries, they're doing that, the spaces in between people, those kinds of things, those are in place, but it's still busy. People are still up and going about. Here in Tanzania, when you are going into government spaces and, those kinds of buildings, you are required to put on a mask as well. And, the distancing thing is here, but Tanzania hasn't really missed a beat. People businesses are humming. A lot of the Diasporans are here, are starting their own business. People are going about their daily lives. I go by the hospital every once in a while and I don't see, any huge cases of people. People are promoting boosting their immune system, so just a regular conversation with someone in the street when you go to the market. They are building up their immune system. They're doing their best to eat well and live a healthy lifestyle. And you can see the impact of that. Our hospitals are fine. not overrun or anything like that. So give thanks. We're doing okay in Tanzania. Yes.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
Thank you so much. Listeners, we really want to appreciate you all for staying with us for this for the past 2.5 minutes. I said 2 minutes 15 seconds. No, 2 hours 15 minutes on this show. We have had a couple comments. Let me try and get a few of them so we can wrap up. This is from Coco Benji. There's so much room for opportunity, but to get to compete with those Chinese people, we must collaborate. Thank you so much. And then I think that Tracy had her comment. Let's see if we can get her. She says, "Say it, Tonya. Stop blaming others." Another comment here from Monisha. "I'm not blaming anyone, and I'm coming to do the work. I have my reasons for making that comment, so we can agree to disagree." Thank you so much for your comments. I think, okay, so folks want to connect. Thank you all for your contribution. This evening episode, which is Finding the Balance, specifically Africans living in the diaspora, has to come to an end. And I really want to thank my great guest, KWABENA, who is a software consultant in Tanzania, right? Tanzania/Kenya, okay. With his beautiful wife, ABENA Grace, KWABENA James. KWABENA, sorry, I left out the English names, okay. I'm just used to pronouncing. Since you have it on the screen, I'm referring to you. Okay, so KWABENA James and his wife, ABENA Grace, they both work in Tanzania and Kenya, doing great work there. Dr. Lord is here in the States trying to go to Gambia and establish a project there. He is the CEO or leader of Histrotech.
Yes, correct.
Histrotech, awesome. And then we have TONYA, SAAFIR, ANKOMAH, SISTA, also in Ghana, who has been sharing her experiences and story. It has been so pleasant and very informative with you guys. I really appreciate you, and to our audience. The comments are coming through. They're consistently flowing, and I think that if given another hour, we could keep going. Right? It's been that much exciting, and so we'll do this again. Stay with us. There's a call coming through. We can take it now. Please forgive me. We would also want to take the opportunity to thank Mr. Yao in Ghana, who helped coordinate this. Great gentleman in Ghana. Thank you so much for the work you're doing, Mr. Yao. We will connect after the show. Remember, to whom much is given, much. Hold on one second. I wanted to get this. All right. Okay. We have to end the show. I've been your host, Alinko, with the Progressive Minds. Coming Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. CST, we'll be talking about the diaspora convo with our African Americans, Caribbeans, and Africans on the platform. To chop it up, we'll look at our relationships and how we can collaborate more.
Yeah.
Remember to keep following the Progressive Minds and sharing the feed and continue the conversation in your various homes. Guys, I know it's already late, and so you guys will need a good night. I really appreciate it. Sister, get some light soup.
Black power.
You know what I miss in Ghana? All the fruits, the mangoes, all the fruits lying around. You don't even have to struggle for them. You're walking around, you're just picking fruits all over the place. I miss those. The hospitality as well. But guys, we shall be talking soon. Okay?
Yes, please have a good one. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, Madasepa.
Okay, you want to say that's it to our audience?
Kabio?
What's that audience for us? Tell them tell the audience.
Okay, Madasepa. And in Swahili, Asante Sana.
Okay.
Yeah.
KWABENA.
Benso, mehuyepa. I'm trying.
Okay. Anything for you, Asante? Any words in tree for our audience?
Man, no.
Aquaba, sis.
No, listen, I was gonna say Monte, but that's good morning. That don't work. I learned good night. I will learn good night for the next show. Okay.
Okay. Well, very exciting, man, guys. I'm gonna miss this conversation. I'm gonna watch it. It's gonna be on YouTube and Facebook. If you wanna watch it, you can go and watch it. But I'll be missing you guys till we talk again. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Right.
Okay.
Remember to much is required. This has been Alinko with the Progressive Mind Show. Have a wonderful evening, guys. Take care. Bye bye.
Okay. Okay. Bye bye.
Good night.
Take care.